Hello YouTubers, I'm going to make a short video to offer advice to anyone who owns a Peugeot 206 petrol engine car which refuses to start, and you're at that stage where you have reset the ECU by disconnecting the battery, and you've tried pretty much everything you can try, and you're at your wit's end thinking, why on earth won't this car start? Well, there's a very strong probability that the cause of your problem is this. This is a part called the crankshaft angle sensor, and it's located on the, I'll just point to where it is. You can't see it because it's underneath this part of the engine, but it's fairly easy to access. Now, why would this prevent your engine from starting? Well, this engine, like all engines these days, has a multitude of electronic sensors which send different types of information to the ECU unit, which then processes the information and decides how to run the engine. You know, when to make the spark plugs fire, when to make the fuel injectors operate, dependent upon the speed of the engine, the way the car is being driven, etc., etc. Now this one, the crankshaft angle sensor, why would this prevent your engine from starting? Well, this sensor's job is to send a signal to the ECU unit for every complete revolution of the engine. This sensor tells the ECU unit that the crankshaft is at a certain position in its 360-degree cycle. So every time this sensor sends a signal to the ECU unit thinks, right, the crankshaft is now positioned, say, a certain number of degrees before top dead center on, a cylinder, cylinder number 1, I suppose. So now I can decide what to do with the ignition timing and the fuel injection timing. But if this stops working and doesn't send its signal to the ECU unit, then the ECU unit is at a loss to decide when to make the spark plugs fire, when to make the fuel injectors operate. And I suppose, as a fire safety precaution, the ECU unit, under those circumstances, doesn't send an electronic signal to make the spark plugs fire or the fuel injectors operate. So the engine is basically dead. The starter motor will still operate, of course, because that's not governed by the ECU unit. So you'll be sitting there turning the key, the engine will be turning over and over without starting, and you're sitting there scratching your head thinking, why on earth is this happening? Chances are it is this component which is your problem. It costs about £15 to buy one brand new. It takes about 10 minutes to fit one. You need a 10mm spanner or a hex head Allen key. I don't know what size, but easy enough to sort out. And the 2-prong contact locates there. And if you're having this sort of problem with one of these cars, well, here's some advice very well worth listening to. So, good luck if you're having this sort of problem, and I hope this advice has been helpful.